Christian Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents Your Jesus is Too American, calling the church to reclaim kingdom values over the American dream, by Steve Bezner. Foreword by Beth Moore. Narrated by James R. Cheatham. Foreword. Beth Moore. The first time I heard Steve Bezner preach, I reached into my purse to pull out a pen, squinted stageward to study him carefully, and thought, where's this guy been? I'd been part of our city's diverse Christian community for 40 years. I knew, and loved, a lot of gifted preachers, especially of Steve's denomination. I didn't know how I'd missed this one. This guy at the pulpit was a marvelous mix of brilliance, warmth, truth-telling, humility, and generosity of grace. He appeared to be both studied and spirit-imbued. A wise preacher knows all the preparation in the world can't make up for the absence of God's anointing. Nor will God let a communicator get along indefinitely, exploiting anointing to avoid preparation. Ironically, Steve and I were already friends by the time I heard him preach. Fellow Houstonians, we came to know one another serving a community neck-deep in the muddy waters of Hurricane Harvey. He'd also gotten my attention on social media as a pastor who spoke what he believed to be right, just, and true, even when he knew he'd lose the favor of people in high ecclesiastical places. As I look back on it now, I can so clearly see that what made his voice different from the louder public discourse was his cage-rattling gospel consistency. From my point of view, Steve seemed to be suspiciously lacking in blind spots, like someone who'd once been cloudy-eyed but had since spent a good bit of time with an expert ophthalmologist. Dr. Bezner certainly was no secret to his community. The parking lot of the church he oversaw was packed every open Sunday. The only way I know to explain how the secret was kept from me is that God, in His mercy, saved Steve's preaching for a season I'd need it most. This is as good a time as any to share one of my biggest frustrations with God. He is annoyingly uncooperative with my categorizing. Right about then, and for the first time in my life, I was suffering from an excruciatingly low estimation of evangelical preachers. The thing about typecasting is that it's not only sinful, it's also lazy. It's easier to dismiss a whole group and say they're all a bunch of whatevers than develop actual discernment. The depth of my low estimation of a certain company of preachers was matched only by the inordinate height of my estimation before my crisis. That I've found any semblance of balance in this season of reevaluating everything but Jesus is, in part, due to God putting Steve Bezner and men like him on my radar. What I have so deeply appreciated in his teaching is beautifully captured here in his writing. You will be taught, not talked down to. You will be served, not seduced by someone seeking celebrity. And if by chance you find yourself offended by something he says, hear him out. Hear the gospel he preaches, and thank God for people who are brave enough to speak truths that hurt, because only truth can heal. Thank God for those who make us question whether our outlook is Christ-like or culturally Christian. In closing, I'd like to say that writing a book is risky business. You scratch and claw against your own maddening proclivity to distraction, clamoring to find that magic moment when time and a few clear thoughts align. You construct phrases and sentences from a present state of mind, health, and circumstances that feel deceptively permanent. Then hand them into an editorial team that hacks the
Sample complete. Ready to continue?